odds are there are going to be roller coaster type seasons, and you're going to have very, very high weeks, days, months, years, but you're also going to have ones that are trending down, and it's a balance, and it's about getting up when you're down and staying up when you're up.
There's a million other factors that you can't control. So my main through line is, number one, have faith that doing positive habits are going to create positive results eventually. Eventually is the key word. And number two, don't try to have success without struggles. It's not real.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was episode number 1046, last week's live Q&A, How Do I Know If My Self-Talk Is Inflated? Today, for episode number 1047. The last 47 episodes have gone by wildly fast. We are talking about understanding the seasons of success. So as you know, it at this point, if you're listening to this, was 10 weeks ago that Alan and I said we were going to set the intention and do whatever it takes to lose 10 pounds over the course of 10 weeks. And it's very, very interesting because I hit my weight early. I hit my weight a week early, which is great. I was 169.4, I think, on my way in. And then next day, I think I was 169.6 or something like that. So I lost my 10 pounds. I had to hit 170. I hit 170. Awesome. But the interesting, weird part is 2 days after I started tracking and making sure my calories were where I thought they should be, I actually gained weight. So I think I have to look at my chart, but I think I went from... I started at 180, and I think it went to like 181 and then 182 over the 2 days that I started tracking after we first started this. And it's very interesting because, and I say this often on other shows, that is why the understanding of consistency is so important. Because if I told you, really, really think about this. This is my favorite story. If I told you that last night while you were sleeping, Alan, I buried $1 million cash in your backyard. And I'm not going to tell you where it is. I'm not going to tell you how deep I buried it either. But you have as much time as you need to go find that. Odds are that if you go dig a hole, it's not going to be the first hole. It's not going to be the second hole. It's not going to happen on the third day. It's not going to happen on the fourth day. It's not going to happen on the fifth day. It might seem like you're losing and losing and losing and losing and wasting time and investing time you don't have. And eventually you will find that. I can't guarantee it'll be this month, this year, this decade. I mean, my goodness, it might not even be this lifetime. But we're talking today about the seasons of success. The initial season is usually what feels like losing. Those 2 days where my weight went up, it can be very easy to be demoralized by that and say, you know what, maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe my calories aren't right. Maybe I'm not going to be able to hit my weight. But that was just the season I was in. That's the season. And again, that's a small example because in the grand scheme of things, it takes longer. But I just wanted to use that example because I think when we start something, we assume, all right, we're going to see results right now. I cut my calories, I've been hitting the gym, the weight's going to go down. And it didn't go down. In fact, it went up. And I think that's a good example for life, dream chasing, business, relationships, anything you're going through. Odds are there are going to be roller coaster type seasons. And you're going to have very, very high weeks, days, months, years. But you're also going to have ones that are trending down. And it's a balance. And it's about getting up when you're down and staying up when you're up.
I was on a virtual training recently, and there were 13 empowered women in this training, and they were asking me about what I think they should do because a lot of them are struggling compared to what they were doing last year. And I took a moment to really think about this, and essentially what I said is this year's struggles are actually next year's success. And believe it or not, this year's successes are going to be next year's struggles. Let me explain. And it's very similar to what Kevin's talking about here, these seasons. I say the struggle bus leads to greatness. The party bus leads to mediocrity. What happens is we're on the struggle bus and we're working hard and we're digging those holes and we're we're contemplating and we're learning and we're reading books and we're doing positive habits and we're going to the gym and we're doing affirmations and we're meditating and we're doing our vision board, we're putting in the work. But all of that work I just described, none of that manifests in actual outer results in terms of money or a new car or a new home right away. It all has lag time. Behaviors today do not create outcomes tomorrow. Behaviors today create outcomes in your future, and it's very difficult to predict when. And so this is kind of the wheel that I shared with them, the seasons. So picture a circle, and on the upper right part of the circle is the word struggle. And then again, the word struggle a little farther down. So right now, imagine a clock. So at 1, struggle. At 3, struggle. At 6, struggle. That's what I call the struggle bus. You're struggling, you're working, you're struggling, you're working. Okay? Struggle creates pain, and pain and discomfort create growth. They create contemplation. They create new awareness. Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And then when you figure out why it's not working, what you do is you innovate. You improve the process. And when you improve the process, you start to get success. And then you're like, holy crap, this is working. So you get self-esteem and you double down on it and you get more success. And then you're like, holy crap, this is working. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you have momentum now. And momentum brings even more success. And then eventually you exceed your expectations of self and you get way outside of what you thought was going to happen, and you start to become complacent. And you're successful now even beyond what you thought you would be, even though it took you longer than you thought. And then you start to do what Kevin and I have been guilty of, which is pump the brakes just a little bit. Just a little less prospecting, just a little more lackadaisical, just a few more, episodes during the day or whatever it might be. And then you start to lose momentum. And here's the other thing. When you succeed at this higher level, all of a sudden you get opportunities that you never had before, which brings challenges you've never had before. And also, not only are you a little more complacent because the bank account's looking good and the clients are rolling in and you're getting these new opportunities and you get what I refer to as shiny object syndrome. You start to notice all these awesome ideas and new things and let's try this and let's try that because now you're getting self-confident. And when you get self-confident, you set higher goals and now you notice new people, you meet new people, you're networking. And then all of a sudden, you start to struggle again because now you're playing at a new level. And when you have new opportunities, all of a sudden, you now put more on your plate than you can handle. And now all of a sudden, you start to struggle again. Struggle again, struggle again. And then eventually it comes back to that pain and then you innovate. And it's a circle of life. It's the circle of success. And I've started calling it the circle of success. We all know about the circle of life, yin and yang, up and down, light and dark, good versus evil. Every movie has a 3-act structure. Every story has this circle. You've heard a million times it came full circle. Oh my God, it totally came full circle. One of the things that I'll share with everyone, I've had many, many clients come to me who want coaching. And over the years, what I've learned to do is figure out what clients are not going to be aligned for me and what clients are. The clients who I am not aligned coaching, and there have been many that I've said I don't want to coach or that have ended up leaving or whatever, what I figured out is that all of the people that I feel misaligned coaching are the people who want to believe that they can have the success without the struggle. And it's not based on how it really, really works. The struggle bus is required for you to grow. That's like wanting a great body without tough workouts. It's not real. And it's certainly not gonna sustain. And so if you come to me for coaching, and I sense that you want success without any struggle, I'm the wrong coach for you. And the reason why is because this year's struggles are next year's success. And next year's success are going to bring new struggles because it's going to bring new opportunities. And new opportunities are going to bring you to places you've never been before. And when you're a beginner again in places you've never been before, it's going to be really challenging. Kevin and I, when it comes to podcasting, that's not that challenging for us right now. But if we get invited on a big show with a live audience, that's going to be hard. That's going to be new. We did a podcast on stage once, very different.
Yeah.
That was way more difficult. And so the success is actually going to bring more struggle, and you have to understand that. And then the very last piece I'll say is this. There's a lag time between the struggle and the success that is very difficult to anticipate. To Kevin's point about digging the holes in the backyard, you don't really know when you're going to find the treasure. You know that it's there, and you have to have faith that you're going to find it eventually, but you don't really know when it's going to be. And to use Kevin and I's own experience, I told Kev, I don't know when we're going to catch fire. I don't know when we're going to go viral. I don't know if I think we've had mini viral moments, but we've never really gone viral. We've never really caught fire yet. And I do know it will happen eventually. And it'll be in varying degrees. It could be a lot or it could be a little. I just think of it could be 2 people tell 2 people, tell 2 people, tell 2 people, or it could be 3 people, tell 3 people, tell 3 people, tell 3 people, or it could be 5, right? There's different levels of virality or catching fire. Not every forest fire is growing at the same rate. But I can't tell you when that's going to happen. I do believe that it will happen when the world starts to perceive us as more successful in the industry. I don't know when that will turn. I don't know how to anticipate that. I don't know how to calculate it. But I do know how to calculate, how many episodes we're going to record next year. 365. Right? Technically, I do 8 a week and Kevin does 2 because he has Podcast Growth University. So technically speaking, it'll be an additional episode per week. So 365 plus 52. What's that number? You're good at quick math.
365 plus 52, 417?
417. But I can't calculate whether or not next year's the year we're going to catch fire. And so it's really important to understand that behavior is the part you can control and need to control. But the outcomes are very dependent on macroeconomic perspectives and people's behavior and perception in the marketplace. And no one predicted COVID. I mean, there's a million other factors that you can't control. So my main through line is, number 1, have faith that doing positive habits are going to create positive results eventually. Eventually is the key word. And number 2, don't try to have success without struggles. It's not real.
Hi, everyone. It was so awesome to meet you during our group coaching, G6. The reason I signed up in the first place is that I've been really doing self-improvement in all of my adult life, but I've been doing it on my own. I've been reading books. I watch, read books and, listen to podcasts and everything. But signing up for group coaching is having a group of people all working towards the same thing, bettering their lives financially, health-wise, relationships, just all of it. It's the full package. So I believe everyone could benefit from group coaching. Doesn't matter, how successful you've been in the past, how many other groups that you've joined up. This is something different. I absolutely know that Kevin and Alan are changing lives and will do so much more, and I can't wait to see where this goes. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
I had a new client who just started with NLPS, and we had a call recently. And one of the things I try to do in the beginning is I try to gauge the overall goals, because depending on your goal, I'm going to deliver advice, I'm going to deliver suggestions, I'm going to push you harder or not as hard depending on what you want. And this person said, honestly, my awareness isn't super high to what I should be setting for goals. And I said, just throw the first thing out that you think. And this person said, I'd like to have 20,000 downloads a month. And he said, you'll tell me if it's not realistic, right? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And this person said 20,000 downloads a month by this time next year. I said, no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And he said, why not? And I said, well, that's like what we're around. Like we're around 20,000 per month, and we do 7 episodes a week. And we're trending up, and that's great. But I said, you're right now in the season where we're rebuilding. Like you're in an upward trajectory season, but not up to 20,000. You're going to be up to a level. It'll plateau. You and I will strategize. We'll dip a bit. We'll go back up. and the trend line will continue moving in a positive direction. But I said it's too early. It's too early. There's no way. And the other thing too is, I know you won't get there. I had a client, Alan, who said the same thing to me. He said, I want to have 10,000 downloads a month. Is that reasonable? Is that doable for me? And I said, yes, that is doable for you as long as you do the right things. And once I realized that this person wasn't willing to do the right things, I knew it wouldn't happen. And when I say right things, this is what I mean. This person wasn't willing to send DMs to listeners. This person wasn't willing to do free calls. This person wasn't willing to have a Facebook group. All of that stuff creates the lag time, but it also creates the success eventually. If you're not willing to create the lag time, you're not going to create the success. And
Go deeper on lag time. What do you mean?
When it comes to like, for us, Next Level Nation, I think we have how many people? 600?
635 or something.
So that has taken us 4 years to build.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. I don't know when we actually originally started it, but anybody might look at that and say, well, that was kind of a waste of time. Like 600 people. There's groups that have thousands of people. And it's like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but the way that is built in and poured into our podcast, all of that quote unquote lag time of us digging the holes, now that's a pillar of a very successful foundation there.
Yeah.
And it's basically how long can you work in the dark before the lights turn on? That's kind of the analogy here. So it's almost like, for me, when I'm talking to somebody, they want to put the needle on the top of the skyscraper. That's what they're looking at. My question is, what are we doing? What have we done, and what are we doing to build the foundation? That's what I care about. The foundation is
needle.
Yeah,
the lightning rod.
The lightning rod, whatever it is.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
I was like, wait, what? Yeah,
but I think of that where it's like the only reason we got to where we are at is because we put in so much of the foundation work that seemed like it was never going to pay off, and many people didn't think it would. Then eventually your results catch up to the effort you put in before. I looked this up, Alan, when you were on your monologue at the beginning. I looked it up on my phone if you saw me looking down. I Googled, how long does it take to build a hotel? And it depends. But the measurement really is anywhere from 1 year to 5 years. So imagine you spend 5 years building a hotel. That is just a flat line. It doesn't seem like anything is happening. There's no money coming in, whatever. You open up the hotel, people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. Cool. To the moon we go. Awesome. Eventually, you're going to have to rebuild and rehab and remodel that entire hotel. That's going to be a down season. And then eventually you'll have another up season and rinse and repeat forever. So to Alan's point, number one, you have to believe it will be worth it and what you're doing will work, because it's going to take time. Depending on what you're trying to build, the lag time will be longer. Alan and I go on a lot more shows than Alan now because Alan's building the business. And it's interesting because I will do a free call with somebody who I believe in. If I'm on a podcast with somebody who I love their message and I love what they're doing and I see a ton of potential in them, and they're the kind of person that I want to see more of in the world. A lot of times it's similar messaging to what we have. I'll send them an email and say, I love what you're doing. I'm happy to hop on a free call to add as much value as possible. Sometimes they'll ask me at the end of this call, hey, what does it take to work together? Right? And that's awesome. That's like a bonus. And I love that. But you'd be surprised that just because I went on 30 shows or 50 shows or however many it was in the last month, 2 months, 3 months, that doesn't mean we have 50 new clients. That's not the way it works. All of that time invested will pay back with listens and maybe with clients and with new community members and new friends, whatever it may be. But that's over the course of the year. That's over the course of the next year and a half, 2 years. So you're putting a lot of energy in, and it seems like you're getting very little out, but that energy will be spread out and it will be bigger when it comes back, like kind of like a wave.
To Kevin's analogy with the hotel, it takes a lot less time to build, a shed than it does a hotel. Like if you were to Google how long does it take to build a new shed, it could be done in like a couple days.
Probably not even.
Not even.
Let me look.
Versus a hotel. So what if, and this is the analogy that I like to use the pyramid. The reason I love the pyramid analogy, and most of our frameworks are built on pyramids, by the way, if you're in group coaching or work with me or Kevin, even the podcast assessments that we do is based on a pyramid. And here's why. A pyramid can only grow as tall as the foundation is wide. That's why I love the idea of a pyramid, because you can't climb higher until the foundation is wider and stronger. And a lot of times what happens is when you get higher and higher and higher, you start to forget about the foundational habits, the foundational networking, the foundational prospecting. Probably not networking, but prospecting. We aren't big into networking. If you haven't noticed as a listener of our show, we decided that pillar is not for us. But the foundation has to be wider before you can build higher. And that's a really powerful analogy for how I believe success actually works. And I think that if it takes 3 days to build a shed, you can get small results in the short term if you want to get small results. If you want to lose 2 pounds, you can do that in 2 days if you really grind.
Yeah.
But if you want to lose 20 pounds, losing 2 pounds in a day is a bad idea. Trust me. We have a team member who wanted to lose 25 pounds. They were a new team member, and I was like, I got you. We can do that. Totally. 100%. Here's how you do it. Track your calories each day, track your weight each day, work out every single day. Okay, keep your calories under this amount. And we have a whole system behind this. He lost like 12 pounds in like the first 5 weeks. And I said, you are going way too fast. It's easy to lose the first 12 pounds, but if your goal is 25, you have to slow down and do this incrementally. Otherwise, you're going to tank your metabolism. It's the same idea. It all depends on what you're trying to build, what goal you're trying to hit. If you're trying to create a podcast that is one of the most successful in the industry, it's going to take a bigger foundation. If you want a podcast that you can get 1,000 listens on in the next, couple weeks, you can do that very, very quickly. Kevin and I have realized that we play the long game, and we want to encourage the listeners to do the same, because yes, it's hard in the beginning. It takes sacrifice and it takes struggle, but in the long run, it can be unbelievable what you can create. And ultimately, what matters is how much you grow and how much you can contribute over the long run. Fulfillment is not a quick fix. Pleasure is. We all love donuts over kale, but kale can build a better body and a better life. And it's very, very important for our listeners to understand that every action you're taking today does have a positive or negative impact on your future. And that is a fact. That is a scientific, mathematical certainty. Every action you do or don't take today increases the odds or the probability of your future being brighter or darker. Okay? The question is, how many positive things can you do today that your future self will thank you for, even if it's a future self that doesn't pay off for many, many years? And I think about that all the time, Kev. I'm always asking myself, I actually wrote this in my notes. At the end of Peak Performance Tracking, there's a notes section, most important win, most important improvement. My most important improvement, I wrote this morning, Kev, is from now on, whenever your mind says my future self will thank me for this, just do it right then. Try to just do it right then. Whether it's literally something as silly as we have this little recycling bin in our garage that we have 2 recycling bins. One's a little one right next to the door to our garage. One of them's a big one. And whenever the little one gets full, I like to put it into the big one so that I don't have to walk there every single time. And yesterday I didn't want to do it. And I'm like, tomorrow you're going to be grateful you did when you're putting these Zoas in the recycling bin. Right? And so just little things like that. Try your best to do now what your future self will thank you for. And I promise you, your life's going to get better and better and better.
That is correct. Next Level Nation, one of the best parts of being in a podcast community is being able to meet other people, but also the way we have it set up is you can meet us every single week. So every single week on Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live podcast in our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation. So we do a 40-minute podcast and a 20-minute Q&A. So if you have ever had questions that you wanted to answer, you wanted us to answer, please join Next Level Nation and join us for those live podcasts. So there's a little bit of a change. So if you're listening to this, I don't know what day it is. Let me see.
It's Friday.
Friday, so it's probably the 29th. So usually our next live podcast would be Monday the 1st. It's going to be Wednesday. Sorry, I apologize. Hold on. That's totally correct. I don't know if I'm in the right week. Okay. We were supposed to have a live podcast Monday, August 8th. That will actually be Wednesday, August 10th, because I am going to be in Colorado. So that will not be happening then, but it will still happen. It will just be on a different day. I don't even know if I'm in the right week in terms of me talking from this episode, because full disclosure, we're recording episodes in the future right now, and it's very hard to keep track of what week is going to be what, and it's a whole thing. So please join our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation, if you are looking for more of a Next Level community. And if you want to be part of the live podcast, please join us in Next Level Nation on usually Mondays at 6 p.m., but the 8th will be the 10th. Good luck with all that.
Also at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
Also, if you're listening to this episode, that means it is Friday. We are doing a monthly meetup. Our 8th monthly meetup is next Thursday. So if you listen to this episode and you're like, okay, interesting. So how do I make my future self thank me? How do I do things today that my future self will thank me for? And how do I have more belief in my future? We are creating a meetup called Creating Your Own Success Checklist. Success is a science. If you want to be more successful, there is a science to it. There's a way to get on the high end of probability of your future being brighter. There really is. Kevin and I are going to break down for our listeners, for anyone who attends that monthly meetup, a success checklist. And if you have these boxes checked off, okay, the chances of your future being brighter are unbelievably higher. So join us. The link will be in the show notes. You can register. It's a Zoom link that registers you. It'll send you an email. You can add it to your calendar. We would absolutely love to have you. The monthly meetups are exactly that. It's a way to meet the community. Meet other like-minded people. You are not alone in your goals. You are not alone in your dreams. You are not the only one who feels like you're the only one with goals and dreams who loves books and podcasts. There is a community here that will support you. Those meetups are very, very powerful. Kevin and I will be there. Please join us.
Technically, you'll be there. I won't be there for that one because I'm going to be away.
Oh, okay.
So
I will be there.
I must tell the truth
about
because
the success. Yeah.
My
always,
fear
always.
is that thousands of people will flock to it, knowing that I'll be there, and when I'm not there, they will leave disappointed, and I don't want that for anybody.
Yeah.
For anybody. Next Level Nation tomorrow for episode number 1048. It is Saturday, a little weekend with Jeff and Jeff. Why specific goals are so important. We talk about goals very often, but there's many, many different layers to goals, and we're going to talk about another layer that we have been talking about behind the scenes. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.